Hello guys, welcome to our remote biology lesson. I hope that you're all staying at home as much as possible and isolating yourselves from the outside world and other people. Uh, for the time being, we had to make this decision to stay at home, and I thought that I will be uploading such films to you on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so you will have ready materials on Wednesday and Friday, just as if nothing had happened, just as if the regular pace of work would be kept. Anyway, guys, today's topic is roots. Root is an organ that we have to associate with plants because obviously uh, it's the plants that create roots. And guys, I want you to go to take your notebook, that's first, because you might be willing to take some notes. At least I hope that you will. And also take your textbook and open on page 98, where we have this topic. When I will be talking about this, I want you to browse through the textbook and take a look at illustrations. Okay, guys, so let's begin. First of all, what is a root? A root is a part of the plant that is present below the ground. Part of plant present below the ground. And guys, why do plants need roots? Think for a moment. There are at least three reasons why plants have roots. First of all, the most obvious one is, of course, because the plants need to have a support, so they will hold to the ground using the roots. So the first function of root is to hold the whole plant in place. Holds the plant in place. Second reason why plants have roots is the fact that if you don't water your plants, they will just die, because they use roots to collect water and mineral salts that are dissolved in this water from below the ground, from the soil to the rest of the plant. So, root collects water and mineral salts from the ground. And guys, water is quite obvious. Remember that mineral salts are chemical compounds that are dissolved in this water. In some cases, roots will also serve another purpose, and this is the food storage. So the plant, when it's summer and it's warm and there is plenty of sun, the temperatures are high, it collects chemical compounds from the ground, those mineral salts, but also phosphorus, also nitrogen, and it stores them in the root in order to make it possible for the plant to uh, go back to life when winter is over. So it stores food for winter. Food is not the food because we understand, I hope that you remember this, that plants are autotrophs. That means that they don't eat anything, but for the sake of lesson, let's just say it's food. It's actually the storage material. And guys, on page 98, you have a diagram presenting a very simple type of root. And it looks more or less like this. We have this root. We have some secondary roots here. Something like this. Oh no, I erased it. Here is the ground. So here is above, here is below. And guys, root is not an organ that is absolutely the same on its whole length. So, as you can see, the thing that we were talking about last week was that plants, they don't really grow in any other places behind meristems. And guys, the very tip at the bottom is called the meristematic zone, which means that cells here can divide. So there are more and more cells. So the root can grow longer and longer. A little bit above this meristematic zone, we have the elongation zone. Po polsku to jest ta strefa wydłużania. So here, the cells, they don't divide anymore. What they do is they grow bigger and mostly longer. So the circumference of the root gets bigger, but there is no cell division in this part. And guys, the next part of a root is this weird, strange part where you have many tiny hairs. And those hairs are extremely important. This is the root hair zone, strefa włośnikowa, because this is the place where the plant can absorb the most water. So here it's the place where it absorbs water most intensively. And guys, those hairs are extremely important because due to some physical properties of water, the plant is able to take the water from the ground only because it has this tiny little hairs. And guys, the very top part of a plant where you have all those roots that are spreading more parallelly to the ground is the maturation zone. Po polsku strefa korzeni bocznych. Also, you might find the name for it, which is the secondary roots zone. And its function is not to absorb as much water, but to support the plant because it just spreads around right below the ground surface. So when the wind is blowing, the plant is leaning a little bit, but it won't fall down. Guys, those tiny, once again, those tiny hairs are called the root hairs. This diagram is, of course, very simple. Nothing in real life looks like this, at least when it's old enough. I will look for one video I will attach to this because this will perfectly show what it looks like. So guys, another thing that is worth mentioning is the fact that various plants have different strategies if it comes to creating roots to settling into the ground. And guys, we have so-called root systems. You have them on page 99. The first one is the taproot system. Po polsku to jest system palowy. And guys, it looks more or less like this. We have the ground level here and here. And we have a plant that has some leaves on the surface, that has a flower, mlecyk, ostatni w tym sezonie. And guys, when you take a look at what's happening below the ground, you will see that you have that main big root that is going straight into the ground, and from this root there are smaller secondary roots spreading, and it looks something like this. So the deeper the roots are, the shorter they are, and those are called, the ones on their side are called the secondary roots. Po polsku to są korzenie przybyszowe. So some of the plants will have it this way. On the other hand, we have grass. So we have many leaves of the grass, which are quite long. And what is happening below is that you don't necessarily have one single, the longest root that is growing, but you have many of the roots that are similar length. And this system is called the fibrous root system. Fibrous. O. Po polsku to jest system wiązkowy. Depending on the type of the plant, they have decided to have those different strategies of creating roots. And guys, this is of course the theory, but the world has proven us that it all looks a little bit different. And guys, some of the plants have decided that the roots will not only serve as support and storage and the organ for absorbing water, but they have also adapted themselves to perform some other functions. And those are called the transformation of roots. Transformed roots. And please open your books on page 100, and we will go through them together. So, in the upper left corner, you can see something that I hope you are familiar with. It's a carrot. And guys, the part of a carrot that we eat its root, but its root is being transformed to serve an important function. Because carrot is a biennial plant, I hope that you remember this. That means that it lives 2 years. So 1 year it just sprouts, and the second year it's able to create flowers and then create seeds. So it has to survive winter somehow. So carrot stores some of the food for the winter in its root, and this is called the storage root. Storage root. And examples are carrot, for instance, but there are more of them, but let's leave it for now. Guys, to the right you can see another plant, which is, what is this? What do you think? Think for a second. This is corn. And guys, it looks like this, or maybe I will draw a small illustration. So we have, here is the ground level, here we have leaves of a carrot, and here we have this storage root. And guys, the one that corn has developed is called the stilt root. Stilt root. Korzeń podporowy. And guys, example is of course corn. And it looks like this. Here you have the ground level. Here you have the taproot, which is the biggest one growing. Then we have secondary roots that are spreading like this. But there is something more. Once above the ground, the plant also releases roots that are hanging somehow from the stem, and they go directly into the ground. And its main function is, of course, to support the plant, because corn can grow really tall and it can be really heavy, so any stronger wind could break it. So, in order to avoid this, this plant has also some extra support. So, they support the plant. On the lowest of the page, you can see an example of anchor roots. Anchor, kotwica, that's the part where the ship, what the ship drops when it wants to dock. And it's heavy and it holds the ship in place. This is hence the name. An example of a plant that uses this is vine, bluszcz. And guys, as you can see, those roots have to hold the plant in place. Vines such as ivy. To jest bluszcz, nie to. And guys, it just has to hold the really long stem to the wall. It doesn't absorb water, its only function is to hold it in place. And guys, on page 108, you have the very last type of a root that we have in here, and this is the hostorial root. And guys, example is, as you can see, mistletoe. Jemioła. And guys, this type of root is designed to steal. So, what do we call an organism that lives on the cost of other organism? Parasite. And guys, mistletoe is a parasite. It doesn't grow on the ground just like other plants, like most of them. Instead, it just finds a tree. Here we have a tree, here it's its branch, so and so on and so on. And guys, mistletoe will just find a place in the bark of a tree, Cora, and it will stick to the tree using its hostorial roots. So it starts to grow from here, and then we have those, maybe you've seen the somehow balls that are growing on the trees, and this is the mistletoe. Hostorial root Savka, because it basically sticks to the tree uh, as a sucker that will just hold to its place. And guys, this is very uncomfortable for the tree because this hostorial root is able to absorb water from the host. So mistletoe doesn't have to create its own roots. Instead, it will just suck the water directly out of the tree. This is why the trees might be damaged because of this. Okay, guys, so for now, this is it. Please read the instructions carefully because I think that there will be something for you to do regarding this lesson. That's it for now. Thank you for your attention.